down slow. Sponsored by the Quick Trip. Yeah, we never done this. With the ones to beat on the street, rising up, beat on repeat. Ain't no stopping now. Drop the beat, make them take a seat. Let me see you bounce, let your energy announce. Tune in every week, ain't no room for the weak. Quick Trip in the back, we stay on the right track. Us will never lag, always getting that side.
What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into the Matt Ramage Show, presented by the greatest gas station of all time. And right now, they got Glazers merch. So head over to quicktripmerch.com. If you can see it on their social media, they're all representing that Glazer merch. I got to get myself some. But shout out to Quick Trip being a great sponsor. And head over to quicktripmerch.com. You know what I mean? And we have a great guest today. Everyone who has seen um, the video of Mixon trying to get into the stands, trying to do that Lambeau Leap, and he was denied. Not today. And I have the man, the myth, the legend with me today. But before we get into that, I want to learn a little bit about you. Before that, I want to say shout out to Nicolay Law, also being a great sponsor. So if you get hurt in a car accident, hit up nicolaylaw.com, because the insurance companies are going to try to get you. They're not going to try to give you what you need. So hopefully you don't get hurt. But if you do, nicolaylaw.com is the place to be. You know what I mean? But what is up, Chris? How you doing? Actually, I had a thing up here. I want to show your Instagram right away. But so where can people follow you, first of all, on social media?
What's up, by the way? Thanks for
Yeah,
the invite. Instagram, csalter23, and then Facebook's Chris Salter, and TikTok is just my man cave.
there you go. I just wanted to get
Yep.
that away because I would forgot, because I had
It's
another.
okay.
But it's good to meet you. You know what I mean?
Nice to meet
Um,
you.
yeah, and you've had a fun, last week or so, huh?
Yeah, it's been a wild, what, 5 days now, 6 days? Yeah, it's been insane. Like going viral and everything that happened, and is mind blowing, to be honest.
Yeah. So like, what was one of the coolest things you did? I know this ain't it, but
Hey, it is though. You're a legend in Green Bay. Come on, everybody knows that.
I
One of the
appreciate that.
coolest. I mean, the coolest thing. I mean, the podcasts are cool. Like, I just think that the amount of people that have seen me just from like my past that I haven't talked to in years, like, hey man, I've seen you on NFL, like Prime Time or Red Zone or ESPN, and it's just the like how much is trending is just kind of wild to me. So I would say that's kind of cool, just because I feel like I've gotten contact with people I haven't seen in forever. And then also just like you don't realize how far this Green Bay fan base reaches until you have people from, Argentina messaging you, Spain messaging you, like Germany. It's wild, dude. Like the whole thing is just crazy.
Yeah, Packer fans are like so like all over the earth. Like
All over, man.
I
Yeah.
get it. So I want to get to to tell that story, but I want everyone to get to know you a little bit. So like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, how did you become a Packer fan? Are you a lifelong Packer fan?
Yeah, so growing up, well, my family's from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so I live in Michigan.
Right.
So we're from like the Curtis, like Newberry area. So my grandparents growing up, they were Packer fans, so I kind of kept up with that tradition. And then all of my siblings have all converted to Lions fans. So, but yeah, so the way I became, I mean, that's how I became a Packer fan, and I've stuck with it. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So yeah. So let's just get right into this thing, because I'm actually very curious about what happened.
Okay.
All right. So the Texans game, I was there too.
Okay.
I was way, way far away from you, way up top, sitting next to Jesus. You know what I mean? I was way.
You were watching the Vikings catch an L, all right? Or you heard
Yeah,
about the Vikings catching L's, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen your posts. So.
But
Uh,
like, how did this go down? Take me through it, like how it how it happened.
okay. So Mixon scores that his first touchdown. He's right in that corner. And he starts to do like a little, like, I think he started to do like a little dance, and then he turned around. There's a Texans fan behind me. So he kind of made eye contact with the Texans fan. And my first thought was, this is not going to be my first Lambeau Leap. Like, this is not happening, because I bought, front row before. I wanted a Lambeau Leap. Like, that's one thing I've always wanted. I never got. So when he started running toward the stands, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then, well, when he jumped, I was just, I'm going to give this guy the strongest stiff arm I got. And just trying to hold him down. I wasn't trying to like shove him or like grab his face mask. People say I grabbed his face mask, but that was actually the Texans fan. If you see his hand, he reaches and grabs the face mask. I'm pushing on it. But yeah, so that's how that happened. And I was fighting, like he tried a couple times. I shoved him down both times. I kind of just kept him down. And then he backed up and he had a couple choice words for me. What in regards to, he's like, when he did this little motion, he's like, you're too small, but there was some other language thrown in. And
Yeah.
then and then all the linemen come up and they're like, they're saying similar language. And then they go to they take off, and as they take off, people kind of see me like put my middle finger in the air. But I had a couple choice words for him, and then I told him like he didn't make it up there, bud. Like you didn't make it up there. So that's how all that went down. So
Dude, that is so fantastic. So
yeah.
everyone talked about at first like an ejection. Were
Mhm.
so were you talked to by the Packers?
Yeah, so what happened? I was sitting there for like a couple minutes, and the lead cop was like, he was standing on the field. So he kind of like in his little walkie, he's like, guy in the overalls. And I'm just kind of like turned around. I'm kind of like, there's no way it's me because I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like. So I look over and there's two cops. They're like, I got to talk to you real quick. So they walk me up the concession stand, like up like where the concession stands are. And like the whole crowd's like, boo, like don't kick him out,
Yeah.
yada, yada. So I go up there. We kind of, they're like, hey, do you have your ID on you? I have my ID. I'm like, what is going on right now? He's like, well, you made forcible contact with the player and you can't do that. I'm like, dude, I was just stopping him from coming into the stands. Like he's jumping into stands like to seats that I paid for. So, and he's like, well, you can't make forcible contact. I'm like, well, I don't want the guy jumping in my seat either. And so he went on about his business for a minute, writing some stuff down. And then he's like, we're going to have to escort you out. I'm like, seriously? Like for that? Like, I was like, I see this every week. Somebody tries to push a player back if they jump up from an away team. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, well, I've never seen that on this board. And I come to Lambeau 3 to 4 times a year. And he's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, well, I have stuff down at my seat. And he says, he's like, you're going to have to text somebody and tell them to bring it. I'm like, dude, I have stuff down there. Like my car keys are down there. I don't have where am I going to go? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I ended up walking back down there. As I walked back down there, dude, I just made a post on my Facebook like earlier today on the story. There's a guy that made a comment on one of the posts that I'm in. And he said, like, when I walked in, how much like the crowd just went crazy. And he said it was like a legendary moment. Him and his son will never forget, which is, it's hard to tell like the energy when I was walking back in. But dude, it was just so loud because they thought I was coming back. And, everybody was like geeked on what I did. So I go back down to the front row. That cop is like the main cop is on right in front of my, like where I was sitting at. And I'm like, hey man, can I talk to you for a second? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, so forcible contact with an NFL player. He's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, but he's jumping into my seat. I said, he's in full pads. I'm in overalls. Like, he's got an advantage as far as protection goes. I'm not like grabbing his face mask. I'm not trying to rip his helmet off. And he's like, yeah, but you can't make forcible contact. I said, but I see this every single week. Like I said, you see Amon-Ra jump up here. People are trying to tap him, get him back. Like then somebody pour beer on him. I'm like, that's a little bit different. He said, well, there was beer thrown. I'm like, that's not on me though. That's on the guy that threw it behind me. And I'm like, kick him out. Don't kick me out. I said, I'm sober. I haven't drank all day. I said, I'm driving 8 hours after this to go back home to Michigan. So I just want to sit here and enjoy the game. He says, well, it's not really my call. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, the NFL security, there was 2 guys from NFL security down on the field, kind of right next to us. He said, they want him gone. And I'm like, can I talk to them? So we all have like a little quick conversation. And I just said, hey man, it's never been on the scoreboard that I've seen where you can't touch opposing players. Like they say, respect, you respect your and conduct yourself properly. But they've never had it on the thing where it says don't touch opposing players. I'm like, if a Green Bay player jumps up there, that's cool. But this is a tradition that like I am going to stand behind. Like we don't allow that. I feel like it's taunting. It's no different than somebody gets up and they're dancing too much in the end zone. Like it's a flag. Like that's taunting. That's the reason they have that flag. That's how I look at it when like an opposing team jumps up in the stands. So, and
Dude,
then after that, they were just like, all right, man, like just sit down, relax. Like, I think they realized I wasn't drinking. They were super like level headed about it as well. And I was sitting there and enjoying myself. So that's kind of how I ended up getting back to my seat.
but like my thing about the whole thing when everyone's talking about is like, dude, whenever a opposing team player jumps in the stands, and then they find that that Texans fan or that Vikings fan or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
they jump in the stand, and everyone clowns the Packers like, oh, they got their sold, oh, they got their other fans, this and that. Dude,
Yep.
this is what we're supposed to do. We're
Yep.
supposed to, like, obviously, like you say, you don't grab their face masks, you don't get all crazy and like
Yeah.
try to be violent, but just stand there. And like you said, dude, that's your seat. He wasn't forcing enforceable contact. You weren't
Yeah.
you didn't go into his area. He went into your area, and you
Yep.
paid
He
some
went
money
into
for
the
those
seats I
tickets.
paid for. Yeah, I paid big money for those tickets. Yeah, exactly. And some of it, like when I got my hands out, a lot of people are like you're pushing, but you got to realize he's jumping. So his momentum is like trying to push up, so it makes it look like I'm pushing down, and I'm almost locked out on my stiff arms, like just trying to hold him down. So and I think that's what some people think that I was like pushing him, but they got to realize he tried to jump multiple times. So
Yeah, yeah, he did, and he was big man that he couldn't get in.
he
I
was
think this is
he was big
fantastic.
man. Yeah. I
He
think I
is
hurt his ego a little bit, man. I think that's what, like, one of my profile pic where he's kind of turned smiling. Like, I think that was that moment where, you know, how you just like, shit, like, he
yeah,
stopped me. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted this Lambeau leap and I didn't get it. Like, so it was pretty funny. It was very funny.
dude. I
So,
think it's fantastic. That's what everyone should be doing.
yeah.
Anytime a player tries to land belief, just get strong. Just even if you
Yep.
just stand firm, don't be letting them lay in you. I don't want a Texans player laying on my lap.
Nope.
Don't need it,
And
especially like you say.
we don't need any lions in the fans in 2 weeks. In the stands, I'm sorry, in 2 weeks. So for whoever's watching in the front row, like, we need to stop the lions from jumping too. So,
Yeah, I ain't never sat front row. I sat second row one time, playoff game.
okay.
But but yeah, so like so like then you were involved with another Lambeau Leap. End of the
The
game, right?
Lambeau Leap, that's memorable. Yes, the one I
Yeah.
wanted. Yeah,
How was that? Because that seemed
that
like
was,
everyone was jumping in the stands right at the end.
dude. That was epic. Like, that was absolutely epic. And so so a little quick story. There was a guy from NFL, like, I think it's from NFL Films. Like, after the Mixon thing, he came up and he's like, "Dude, that was like insane. Like, you're trending, you're going viral. You're all over X." Like, I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it's crazy." So I bring that up because now fast forward to the leap itself. So I'm sitting there, man, and dude, you know our history the last couple of years with kickers and losing games, and I'm just like, man, can we just get a kicker that wins some games? And McManus is clutch. I mean, he kicked in a Super Bowl, so I was happy about that signing. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, we're all like ready for this kick, and the first kick goes, and they call that timeout.
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh, like, this ain't gonna be good, And the second kick goes up, and I'm kind of like almost like leaned over the stand, like the front row, just kind of like on the gate. And I'm just like, man, please go in, please go in. And then I kind of put my head up and I look, and as soon as I seen the crowd go crazy, dude, we just start jumping around. We're high fiving everybody behind me, to my side. And as I kind of turn back around, I look and I see Zach Tom and Brandon McManus coming, like, beelining right at me. And as I like as I made eye contact, I could see McManus kind of. I felt like he was scanning a little bit, like trying to like look. And then he pointed. I felt like he pointed right at me. Just with everything that had happened, it just would make
Yeah.
sense. But he pointed right at me, and dude, he jumped, and then I had Zach Tom on my right jump up, and then Christian Watson was on my left. And then, dude, everybody, like, they're all just jumping in front of me. Jair was there, like, it was so crazy. My first Lambeau leap wasn't just one player. I felt like it was like three-quarters of the team. And
Yeah.
it was so crazy to me. Like, that whole thing, like, I remember I had my hand up in the air like this and I yelled at McManus. I'm like, fuck yes, McManus, finally. Like, you know what I mean? Just because, like, it felt good to have like a winning kick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I said, and I yelled, "Welcome to Green Bay." And that was it. He probably didn't hear a word I said, but that's what I had said. So it was just a cool moment for me. Something I'll never forget.
So like after the game, like how like you just like look at your phone and be like this is so wild. And like how many interviews did you do like news stuff too, right?
Yeah, dude. So when I was like leaving, I was in such like awe when it all happened. I was just like, did like this literally just happen? Because this had been a dream of mine for,
Yeah.
a long time. And so after the players walked away, that NFL Films guy came up to me and he says, "Dude, I have been shooting for years and I've been here for many, many years. That is the most epic Lambeau leap I have ever seen." Just because, like, it was the whole team, And he's like, they knew what was up. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, they knew what was up.
They
And
had to.
I'll just leave it at that, man. And we had a couple words, and it was cool. Like it was a very cool like moment for me. So as I'm walking up, I'm kind of like looking. I'm like, this really just happened. So I'm looking at my phone, and dude, people are like, dude, I just seen you on Red Zone and yada yada. As I'm like walking out of the stadium, and yeah, it was just like a very like crazy moment for me. As far as like interviews go, yeah, I've done. Green Bay Gazette. I did an interview with them. I did a couple interviews because he had originally put out a story that I got kicked out, which was not the case. Everybody seen me in the end, so I had to kind of clear that story up, which was cool. Like he was a very nice guy that I ended up doing the interview with, and it kind of cleared the air and kind of got who I really am out there. I've done, man, I can't even tell you how many podcasts now. I think 6 or 7. So
This,
it's been a
this is
cool
Dan.
like
This is the bottom.
experience.
This is the
Huh?
bottom of the pod. This is the bottom of the
Man,
podcast
this is what I'm
barrel.
looking forward to. You're a legend, dude. Come on, everybody knows you. Come on. So no, it's just fun. This whole thing is fun. People are like, are you trying to get like famous? No, dude. That's not what this is about. Like this was about getting a Lambeau Leap that I've always wanted.
Yeah,
It just happened to be they tried to be two. Well, I stopped
yeah,
one and I had one. So yeah,
dude, dude. Legends make legendary moves and legendary moments.
yeah.
I just made that up.
I like it. I'll take
Put
it.
that on a shirt.
I like it.
Yeah, that was dude. I actually I didn't know any of this was going on because I was at the game. I was up on
Yeah,
top and we were drinking. We were having a good old time up there. That's like when I got home and I saw it. But I've always said that because the one thing that bothers me is when uh the other team Lambeau leaps.
yeah,
It takes a little bit out of my soul.
yeah,
I feel like the Cowboys, when the TO went over there, put the football on the star, kind of
yeah,
did that thing whenever they dance on the stars or dance on the logos. I feel like that's
yeah.
how it is to me as a fan when they Lambeau leap. And I don't want people to, like punch them in the head or whatever. And if they find their fans, I don't have a problem because they're excited about it. But like if they try to jump into Packer fans, dude, we gotta do our part. I'm not
Yep.
sure I would have the strength to hold them out. I could just stick my gut out there and be like, if you want to jump,
Yeah. I mean,
swing it.
Mixon is strong, man. I will give it to him. He's a strong dude. I'll give it to him. But yeah, the only Texans fans that were by me, there was one right behind me, and then there was one behind him, and that's the only two guys that were really in that section that were Texans fans. So yeah, he was taking a chance jumping up there, and I mean, I'm a pretty strong guy. I used to competitive bodybuild, so I still have some strength to me. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
I think
you,
he
yeah,
jumped. I think he jumped in just the wrong spot.
yeah, he picked the
So.
wrong one.
Yeah, he picked the wrong first row area to jump in that time. So I think it'd have been okay if he went a couple seats down because there was a couple women that were down there that wouldn't have been touched. I don't think so.
Yeah, they probably. I
But
mean, a lot of people kind of just move out of the way because, like,
yeah,
they don't want. And like, I think I'd like to think that I would try to stand firm, but I'm not sure that I would last real long. Like, I'm not, I'm not a former bodybuilder. I'm a current cheese factory worker who.
man, I thought Mixon was going to get a second one. I don't even think I told anybody this story. So the real quick, sorry to go back to that,
No,
but
it's fine. I
when
think
he
it's
when he scored, the second touchdown he scored and he danced it like he did the LeBron, like I think it was the LeBron like celebration. So when he ran down to the 8, I think it was like the 7 or the 8 yard line right in front of me, and he like kind of pointed right up, like it was kind of like a first down, but he kind of pointed and it was like right at us. The security guard in front of me, he was cool as hell. He was like, I have my hands in my overalls. He's like, keep your hands in your overalls. Because I just thought he was coming back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's going to get me this time. And all the people in the front was like, the guy behind me, he was like, you guys should just all turn around when he runs up there. So we were kind of thinking about just all turning our backs to him if he come running up
yeah.
trying to do a Lambeau lead. So that was kind of a funny story because I thought he was coming back to me, but he didn't. So.
Well, yeah, I think at some point, like if they're gonna kick you out, so it's a punishable offense for a fan. I think they should be telling the player, hey, don't be whatever. Obviously, don't. But I know the players get like free reign, which that's why we're all
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah, I mean, because he grabbed my
I
arm too, so it was like he grabbed me, I touched him, and nothing. There was no ill intent either way. Like, I just
yeah,
want to make that clear. Like, dude,
yeah.
Mixon is on my fantasy team. Like,
Oh
so
yeah, it's
when
oh
he
hey,
when he scored, I'm like, oh, I get touchdown points, but don't jump up here. Like, you know what I mean? So I was kind of celebrating a little bit, like in my head, like, oh man, I'm playing somebody good in this league this week. But I didn't care about the fantasy points at that moment. So
That's the best part. That he's your fantasy running back.
he was one of my first picks. I like Mixon, man.
You
Like I
were like,
said that in
hey,
another interview. Like, just don't jump. Like, I think he's a top five back. Like, he's a phenomenal running back. Sorry to see your pieces falling out, but
that's all
no,
right.
he's a phenomenal running back, man. Like, and I liked him when he was with the Bengals, and I just I don't want you jumping in the stands, man. It's just
Yeah.
tradition, but
Yeah, I think it was Ocho Cinco who
yeah,
jumped in the stands one time, and I was still mad about that. And I love Ocho Cinco, and I actually
yeah,
love that he got to do it. I think he talked about it, and I absolutely love Ocho. But I don't want other teams fans jumping in my stand. I mean, I don't
mm,
like I don't think about it like at night. Somebody's like, remember that Vikings game in 2017? That
yeah,
some bitch.
yeah.
No, but
But it gets under your skin in that moment, though.
oh
Like
yeah,
you're
it
like,
does.
come
I don't
on,
mind the
man, come
skin.
on, guys. Like, yeah,
Yeah, it already stinks enough that they got a touchdown. Now they
yeah,
want to do our celebration with our fans, and some Packer fans are like, "Yeah," no, you don't. I think turning
no,
your back on them, that thing turning your back
yeah.
would be a beautiful thing. You probably
I
get
think so
rocked.
too.
You probably get concussion from the helmet just hitting the back of your head,
Probably. I would just
and then
hope they don't grab you. You know what I mean? To pull and they pull you back like onto the field. That'd be a little. That would hurt.
they kick
So
you out. Hey, jumped onto the
yeah,
field. Some
yeah,
security guard
exactly.
come and
Like I was,
tackle you.
yeah. I was so shocked when they tried to kick me out. I'm like, what? I did nothing different than anybody else did, except for the fact the one cop did say he's like, you stopped him from coming into the stands, and that's. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, the other players still make it into the stands. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that's the problem. So.
Hey, he's like, hey, you should tell me. It ain't my fault. I'm an L giver. That's what I do. I give L.
Give
That's
L's
my.
all day.
You want my business card? It says Chris L giver.
Oh shit, that's funny.
All right, so the Green Bay Packers. All right, I see that you have you got yourself a nice little man cave over there. You got some jerseys on the wall. You're a big
Yeah, man,
sports
I've
fan.
got a little bit of everything, dude. I mean, I'm a like a legit like sports fan. Like, and then this is my bar. I can kind of show you around.
All
Like, this is
right.
my bar area. This is where I'm sitting at. So, yeah. And people are like, "Oh, well, you got Lions stuff." I'm like, man, it's a Barry Sanders jersey, dude. He's the greatest running back ever, in my opinion. Like, but I've
Oh yeah,
got Jordan stuff.
I think so for
I got
sure.
Messi over here. I'm just a big sports fan, like in general. But I'm a diehard Packer fan. Everything in here as far as like all my decorative stuff is all Packers, and that's all I rep. I mean, that's the only stuff I got. But yeah, I got a crazy man cave down here. It's like a little mini sports bar.
Yeah, that it looks nice. I'm in
Yep.
like a dungeon, undisclosed location. No, I'm in a hotel. I didn't plan on being in a hotel today, but that when I asked you to come on.
Yeah.
But so how are you feeling about the Packers this year? Let put on your little analytical hat here. The
So
Packers NFC North is
I
tough right now.
it's going to be tough. I do think that it's going to come down to the Lions and the Packers, though. I think I think Minnesota showed that last night. I think they were like they have a solid defense. I just think their offense can be sometime, not always there. I feel like they're just not consistent. I think that I love the Salah like adding him to like our whatever he's
Yeah.
doing with our staff because I feel like he's a hell of a like run game stopper, like on defense. I know he's supposed to be offense, but he knows like run defense, and I think that's been a weakness for us for so long. I love the way that we're playing free on defense. Like we're forcing turnovers, like we're press man, like we're able to not zone all the time like we were the last couple of years. And I think with Salah doing that, I think if he could touch on that run defense, I think that's our weakest spot right now, in my opinion. And when you run into some of these teams like the Lions that can run the ball because they got two great, really great running backs. But I mean, I see the Packers making a deep run this year. I think we have a real good chance to win it all. I know Love's making some turnovers. Everybody's like kind of freaking out about that, but you got to make throws. Like there's times you got to make throws, and sometimes like people are dropping balls. Like Wicks had one, I know. But yeah, I mean, players are dropping balls. If they hit you in the chest or in the hands, you got to catch that.
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
So
dude. Dude, look, dude, I like it. You should have a podcast. You know what I
I
mean? You
know,
should
man.
have a
I've been
podcast.
told this many times, man, that I should start a podcast and
Well,
do
you
my own
got
thing.
the
I just
cave.
love sports, man. I love it, dude.
Yeah,
So
like for real, like you have the man cave, you have the bar, you have the spot to do it. You obviously
yeah,
have the knowledge. You don't even have to be Packers. It could be every sport. I think if
yeah.
you're someone who could talk about every sport, like that's huge because I can barely talk about the Packers. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I can do everything, but pretty much like hockey. Hockey is the one sport I watch like live games, but I can't really get into it a lot. But basketball, football, like those are the ones I can talk about all day long.
But yeah,
So
like you mentioned Mr. Saleh. I never say his name right, but yeah, I think it's huge because even like him and Halfley, like they're like good friends. Like they talk like he was saying like I think like every week for like this whole season. So I feel
Yeah.
like obviously they're talking defense. He's going to help the defense a little bit. I mean, not that I think the defense needs it, but it doesn't hurt to have another group of eyes on there. And obviously he's there for the offense.
Hmm.
And I think seeing how he'd attack the offense is good because he's a good defensive coordinator. Like whatever people think about the Jets, like
Yeah.
he knows defense. He knows more
He
about
knows
defense
defense.
than any of us, all of
Yeah.
us combined. So,
Yeah.
uh,
No, I think it's a great move. Like when he got let go from the Jets, I'm like, all right, LaFleur, let's make this happen because I think he could be that missing piece that just helps in all like like it's like the little things sometimes that we lose over, and I feel like he could be that like missing puzzle piece to help like some of these coverages and things like that on the defense as far as our run game goes. So that's just my opinion on it.
oh yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing, and it seems like they're all friends. And I think
Yep.
sometimes hiring your friends isn't a good thing. Especially like if you have to fire him at some point, especially if they
Yeah.
were set up at your wedding, you might just go down the ship with them. Not that I
Yeah.
think that it'll ever have to happen, but because even
Hmm.
with like with Halfley, I forget like they got a whole group friendship over there though.
Hmm.
I'm not sure that he's going to be here like the whole season, or if he's just going to be here momentarily, kind of help him out, kind of jet or whatever. But if there's a
Yep.
situation where there's a defensive coordinator opening in Green Bay, I could see him being the guy. And not that Havley's going to get fired, but if he gets a head coaching job, if he, I think that a lot of people are talking about him being a potential head coach guy. Smart people, not me.
Yeah, not, not us, right? No, I mean he was a head coach, with Boston College, so
Yeah,
he knows what it's like to run an entire team. So I could definitely see that. And I mean the halfway move, I was so grateful that we finally got out of the Joe Barry regime. Like
yeah,
dude, I was like, we have to make a move. Like it's 3rd and 2, and we're 7 yards off wide receivers. Like
dude.
I'm like yelling at the TV. I'm like, what are we doing? Like dude, get up on these guys. Like, what do you like? It's the easiest 3 yard out for a first down, and it's a first down. Like, and then you now you do it all over again. So it's just, I think that Halfley with the corners that we have now with having McKinney and Bullard and these safeties that can kind of cover up the back end. Like we have those corners that can play press man. We don't need to play zone. Like let Jair loose, let Valentine loose, let Stokes let them
Yeah,
do their thing. They're making their money. Let them do their thing. This is what they're good at. I mean, Jair loves strapping up people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we love
yeah,
seeing that the seatbelt come out. And
yeah,
look what he did with, when he with Diggs. Like, where was Diggs at?
yeah. He had
Did
23
Diggs?
yards, and I
That's
don't
what I'm
think
saying.
any of
Like,
them were on Jair. I don't think any of them were on
that's the
Jair.
thing, and I feel like if this was Diggs 2 years ago with Barry, like he's going to go for 10 and 130 and two tutties. Like it's just because like we were so soft. I love the fact that we're aggressive now. I love it. I love the fact that we're blitzing more. It's just it makes the
Oh,
game fun. We're forcing turnovers. Those are game changers. Now that we got a kicker too that can make those field goals, like I don't know. I love the way this team is going. I just hope we can stay healthy. That's the biggest thing to me.
oh yeah, it's definitely staying healthy, and yeah, dude, I feel like the sky's the limit for this team, and like Jordan Love, like you mentioned earlier, people talking about the turnovers, people talking about the interceptions,
Yeah.
but I'm not worried because he's like, I don't know where he ranks now after this last week, but he's like in the top three in touchdowns,
Hmm.
top one or two, I think, in the interceptions. I don't know if Mahomes is still tied with them, but that's the thing is like Mahomes got interceptions, but he's they're winning, and I mean
He
that's
gets
a
a
strength of
pass
his
though.
arm.
He gets a
Yeah, yeah.
pass because he's
He kind of
Mahomes.
just
I
get
mean,
yeah, he just kind of gets that pass. Favre used to get that
yeah,
pass too, though. Because
yeah.
like Favre has this many touchdowns, but this many interceptions, but it was always more touchdowns. But um, I'm not worried about it. I want
No, I'm not either. Love ceiling is on. I mean, I don't even think he's tapped into that. Like, I feel
yeah.
like he has so much more potential. And that throw to Kraft that he made, I
Oh,
thought it was intercepted. I looked. I'm like, oh, like, and I'm like, how did Kraft come up with that? And Kraft is becoming like one of my favorite Packers on that team. Like,
yes.
he's just so tough, and he makes those hard catches, and he's not afraid to block and put his body on the line. But yeah, the upside on this team, I just hope we stay healthy and Love continues to improve. But you got to make some of those throws, and sometimes like it's going to be a turnover. But I think a lot of people are so hard on him because of that contract. It's like
Oh yeah.
there's some people that don't believe he earned the contract because they're like, what did he give you? 8 good games last year, 9 good games, so you gave him all this money. But they also got to realize LaFleur's putting him in the positions to succeed.
Mhm.
Running all these reverses and there's so much motion, nobody knows what's going on the defense, and it's just putting him in the correct way to succeed. So I think that the sky is the limit for this team. I really do think that.
Yeah, and like you mentioned that contract, but like he did deserve that contract because that's the NFL. The
Hmm.
Packers put themselves in that position so that they say, "Hey, we're gonna sit him because we think it's the right thing to do," and that's what I
Yep,
think too. You get to
I
watch
agree.
Aaron
Yep,
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers watch Favre. I think it's a genius thing when you have a great quarterback. Why wouldn't you want to watch him, even if they don't teach him? But just
yeah,
watch them. How does he
yep,
practice? How does he be a pro? How does he conduct himself? Like, there's
yep.
obviously they know how to throw a football and all that other stuff, but they had to learn how to be a professional. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh yeah, but I forgot. Actually, I did forget where I was going with that. Huh. My wife texted me and it like threw me off. But
It's
no,
I
but
just think that with Love, like the whole game speed, that's the biggest thing for me. I feel like with college quarterbacks going into the NFL, you throw these guys out to the wolves, and like with Fields, they're like, well, Fields is terrible, Fields is terrible, Fields is terrible, but you threw him to the wolves with nobody
yeah,
around him, and
yep,
it's like when and so sometimes when you let them sit and they realize like, hey, let's get out of this play call. Why are we getting out of this play call? Because of this coverage,
yeah,
and then it's like the speed of the game. Sometimes like the speed of the game in college is so much different than the speed of the game in the pros. When you even watch it, you can, visually see
yeah,
it. So, and these guys are so much smarter on the pro level. So I just think that the speed of the game, letting somebody sit for a minute is just the success, like why we're successful with quarterbacks. And then you look around and the people that are just throwing these guys to the wolves are like, and if they look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's a prime example of this. Like he's playing pretty well this season. Like I know
yep,
he's a Viking, but he's playing pretty well. But I mean, he just was thrown to the wolves with the Jets, and then what was it with the Rams? I think for a minute, and then he came to the
yeah.
Vikings or something like that.
But yeah, I think it's huge for a quarterback. That's what I was saying.
Uh huh. Yep.
Sit there and watch, and but the Packers put themselves in position. Say, hey, so we're gonna let them sit, but the bad part is we're gonna get very limited to look at him before we give him top
Yeah.
paid money because he's
Yep.
next. That's just how the NFL is. Same thing what
Yep.
happened with Jacksonville. What's his name?
Trevor
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Trevor
Yep.
Lawrence is supposed to be the next
Yep.
Peyton Manning and all that, and
Yep.
he's not. I don't watch a lot of Jaguars games. I'm going to watch one Sunday, and I think the Packers are going to absolutely blow them up. But
I do too.
they made the wrong decision. It seems right now from the outside.
Hmm.
Maybe it comes around. Maybe they figure it out. Maybe they
Yeah.
trust and say, "Hey, this." First of all, they paid them all the money. They gotta. But that's
They,
what it is. The Packers got it right. We'll see
hmm.
the I think it's too early to even say Trevor Lawrence is a bust or anything because even after this season, if this doesn't work, I feel like if I was a Jaguars, I'd look at him like, all right, let's get someone in here who's going to put an offense in play that like
Yeah.
Ford is doing. And maybe they already did that. I would hope they did, but
Yeah.
really like, hey, we need if we have to get rid of everyone, but like we paid this guy. Do we
Hmm.
believe he's that guy? Because a lot of guys get paid and then they don't
Yeah.
turn out. But I
Yep.
trust the Packers. I trust Matt
I do
LaFleur
too.
that they
Yep.
know what talent is, and I don't think that they would have let Rodgers out the door if Love wasn't that. If they didn't
Hmm.
believe Love was that dude. That's why I was always pretty confident about him because they're not going to be like, okay, we're wrong, but we drafted him, so we got to play him. We'll just trade this
Yep.
Hall of Fame quarterback and play this guy, even though we don't think he can play. They
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. They would. First of all, the
No.
careers would not be going well.
Yep. Yeah, they would. They would. Yeah, there's no way they make that move. There's no way they would let a Hall of Famer walk if they don't think that Love's that guy. So they
Yeah,
definitely got it right for sure on that one. So
yeah, I think that
yeah,
they're doing a terrific job. We got to work on some special team stuff, but I think this team could be flourish. My wife is like blowing up my phone right here. We're technically on
uh
like a
oh,
weekend off or whatever, so
yeah, yeah.
we'll wrap this thing up. But dude, I'm stoked to talk to you. I really do think that you could be a podcaster. You should come back on one of my live streams.
I would love to. I would love
Yeah,
to get on any videos you want to do. I'm down. So I
yeah,
appreciate that. I'm kind of like nervous getting on these because this is like I said, I've not done this until starting Monday. Like now, everybody, I'm on a lot of podcasts. But
dude.
I
I think you're
appreciate
excellent.
it, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it was cool. Like I feel like you're a legend of this in Green Bay. Everybody knows you. So I mean, I don't have a mural painted of me. You got one. I need
Dude,
one.
you should. You should.
uh,
You should.
I
No,
should with like a stiff arm, right? Uh,
dude, you're like,
that's
like
too funny.
are you gonna get that picture like blown up with Mixon? I saw that one picture, and obviously I followed on Instagram. I saw like you're posting some stuff. Is
Yeah.
there any like great pictures you're gonna throw in the man cave?
Dude, I'll be honest. I like Mixon as a player, and that's the thing where
Yeah,
people were like, "I'm like, there's no ill," but I would love to get that picture signed at some point by Mixon and throw it in my basement because it's just a cool ass photo. And then I would love to get one with McManus because there's a lot of shots out there with McManus like right here, and it was his
yeah.
first Lambeau Leap, my first Lambeau Leap. So I'd like to get McManus to sign like a bit, 16 by 20, and I'd throw both of them down here. I mean, that day I'll never forget. I mean, it was one of the best days of my life. So
Yeah. We will talk again soon. Everyone, be sure to check him out. He's on Instagram, on Facebook.
yep,
Let him know one
TikTok.
more time.
So Instagram is csalter23, CSALTER 23. Then Chris Salter on Facebook, and TikTok is just my man cave.
There you go. I
So
appreciate talking to you, man.
Matt, thank you, bud. This has been an honor. I appreciate it as well.
All right, go Pack, go
All right,
everyone. Thanks for listening, and be sure throw my man a follow. You know what I mean? Go
I
Pack,
like
go.
it. Go
There
Pack,
we go.
go. Thanks.
There we go.